Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and today I have another Switch video for you guys, and this is gonna be on the Raptor V2, well, the HE V2. So I bought these from Geon, and we're gonna be doing a review on these because a lot of holofix switches are out there. This is the version 2, so I've already tried the version 1 way before. We're gonna be doing a video on terms like of how the sound is and the feel is for the version 2 of the Raptors, because if you remember way back when the Wu-Ting 60 was like the holofic board at the time, people were doing a lot of different like customizations, modifying, and they didn't like the Lecker switches, so everyone leaned into the Raptors. The issue with the Raptors before was that the magnet was too strong, and that was going to be something that people were worried about in the long term. And then the Geon Raw HE came out, and everyone switched over to that one. And then since then, so many different ones came out, right? Like the Owlabs tie switch. We have also like the Akko Astrolinks came out, and now the Lecker Tychons. So we're gonna have to do a video on the V2 of the Raptors and then see how it's like. So let's go right into it. But before we go into it, please make sure to like and subscribe, because all of you guys' support really helps build this channel, and hopefully I can keep building it and doing something more. So let's go right into it. Now, let's take a look at the switch that we're looking at today, which is Geon Raptor V2 HE. Now, my apologies, my voice is going to be a bit weird because I do have a cold, so hope you guys can forgive that. Now, as you can see, it has changed. You do have a light diffuser, and it's a lot brighter than what it used to be. But let's look at the information. So this is the Raptor HE V2. It is going to be with a nylon bottom, palm stem, PC top, and a longer spring from what I remember, and it's quite light. We're gonna have to do the sound test and also give you previous ones. So this right here in my hand is going to be the Raptor V2. Now, what are my thoughts in terms of the sound? So depending on the type of board you're using, right? As you guys saw in mine, we had like the 60 HE in a 460 case, which is going to be like a completely like fully open case with no foams, nothing in it, right? And we also have like this 80 HE, which is like completely foamed up. Then we have the Mtros one, which like is going to be like a plastic version of like the 60 HE, and the Sonic, right? So we're going through these different boards, doing the sounds. My thoughts in terms of the depth, like the deep sounding portion, it's not that deep sounding. It's like in the mid tier. So I would say in terms of like the pitch of the Switch, it's like in the medium. So it's like in the middle. It's similar to how like the Astrolink sound. Even the Titans actually, they're kind of similar to the Titans as well in terms of the sound. I would say the Titans have a little bit more of that like higher pitch compared to the Raptors though. In terms of how it feels in the hand, like in terms of typing, it has a very good smooth feel to it. I would say compared to the V1s, which were too tight and a very heavy feeling, the V2s feel a lot better. We're gonna have to, of course, take it apart to take a look at it and see like the springs and everything, and then do the backlighting test to see like is it actually a good Switch. So we'll have to go into that and of course measure like the travel distance and such. So let's go right into it. So right here in my hands, I have the V1 with me and then the V2. Now, as you can see already, the V1s had the open bottom, the V2s are closed bottom, and you could really see that like difference right there. So the magnet can be seen there, and the housing color is much changed. So the V1s was a much darker red, while the V2s are going to be a lighter red. You get the light diffuser, but other than that, it's quite identical in terms of the look of the Switch. Now, the biggest thing with the V1s was that they came with a 16mm spring, which we'll open up and take a look. It's 52 grams and it's supposed to be full travel of 4.0. Now, the 2s are going to be changed with a 3.4mm travel and with 19.5mm spring. So definitely a big change in terms of like the weight as well as the distance that you can use in terms of the analog. And the biggest thing I noticed is that the V1s had like a very scratchiness sound to it, while the V2s didn't. And you'll be able to hear like the bounce back sound on the V2s is actually quite loud, which is something I don't like. But let me give you a comparison between the two. V2 first, V1 second. So the V1s do have like a bit of a deeper sound, but it is a lot more muted compared to the V2s, and the V2s have a cleaner sound to it as well as a cleaner feel. Like the V1s feel a little bit mushy at the end, while the V2s do not have that mush compared to the V1s. Overall, I think the V2s are a bigger upgrade, and compared to like the V1s, yeah, you're gonna have a huge upgrade with the V2s, and I think a lot more people are gonna enjoy the V2s compared to the V1s. Though it is unfortunate the travel distance has been changed, which we're gonna do a little test here with my measurement tool and hopefully get it correct in terms of the distance. So we're gonna start off at 14.7 going to 11.1, but just in case, let's try to measure this like a couple more times just to get it correctly, because we want to make sure the distance is like properly measured. So the second time we're starting at 15.1 ish, so like 15.1, and then we're going to go all the way down to 11.1, which is the correct 4mm. So second measurement, we got a little bit more accurate. The third time, we're getting 14.9 to 11.2. So each measurement's getting a little bit off, but we're looking at anywhere between 3.8 to 4mm in terms of the travel. Now, this is the new one. So we start off at 14.9, and then we go all the way down to a total of 11.6. So 3.3mm travel. So I could be off by 0.1, but that's what distance that we're getting for the V2s. Now opening up the V1s. So the V1s was with a shorter spring. So if you look at this, it's going to be a total of about 15 millimeters to 15.5 millimeters in terms of distance. And then which is going to be shorter than what they say at the 16. I think overall it's like a shorter spring, and it did feel quite scratchy compared to the new ones. With the new ones, it's going to be a longer spring, and of course we have to take a look at the stock lubing. So I did get the lubed version, and as you can really see, there's very little lube on them. So it's just on like the sides, it's barely lubed. I think overall, even the stock is pretty decent. You don't have to lube these switches. Once you do though, it does provide a little bit more of that smooth feel, and I think it actually also provides like a little bit better of a sound. So you get a little bit of a deeper sound from it, but the changes aren't like significant. Now, in terms of the spring itself, we're looking at 19 millimeters is what I'm getting, but they said it's 19.5. I think 19.5 is actually correct, and I'm compressing the spring a little bit there. So the spring weight and the length should be correct, but this is going to be also a lighter switch in general compared to the V1s. Now, in terms of how the V2s feel in terms of the actuation point, so in terms of what I mean by actuation is like the original press feel, the pressure. You do get a little bit at the top when you're pressing it down slightly, like maybe up to like 0.3 millimeters point. But overall, it's very smooth and like feels quite light. Now, in terms of the stem wobble, so at the top end, you're getting like no shaking and no stem wobble. But once you press it down as well, you actually get like no stem wobble. It's quite impressive what they did, and it's actually impressive to see the switches go like this with the Hall effect switches, where you're getting very little stem wobble with them. And even with the key pressed, you can see that there's like no movement, and any movement is usually the switch moving in the plate. Now, backlighting test. So you can already see there's a pink hue. Now, Wooting's lighting for the ADHE isn't the best, and I'm gonna be honest, you might get a pink hue from their lighting. So from what I remember, in terms of like white lights, it can kind of a little bit pink, but the switch itself is giving off a little bit of a pink hue as well, because when I used it with like the Gateron, it was a less pink, and even with the Leckers, the Taycan, it was less pink. It was actually a little bit more towards the white side. And with the Raptor V2, it is going to affect the lighting slightly. So I was kind of worried about it because of the red housing, and you will get a little bit of that color change. But overall, very, very bright switch for those that love the back RGB. I think in general, this is a good upgrade, and the switch was done quite well. I don't like the sound where it's coming back up when it's bouncing. That's one of the things I think is a downside of the switch, but when pressing it, it does sound nice. Overall, I hope this video helped you guys to see if the Raptor V2 is a switch you'd like. I'm gonna actually have a lot more Hall effect switches that are coming in, and I'll be doing a lot more of those videos as well. Hopefully, we'll get the V2 of the 60HE in soon, and then I'll be able to make a video on that and the switch sounds in that video. So that video is gonna be a really long video. I'm just giving you guys a warning now and a bit of a spoiler. It's gonna be an incredibly long video, but I'm putting like all the work into that one video where you guys can grab it, look at it, and then hopefully it'll help you guys with your journey with the V2. So please make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions or any suggestions you'd want to make, I love the comments, and the comments are incredibly helpful. But join a Discord. I'm trying to build a community that's very friendly for HE users, mechanical keyboard users, and all together, make a community that's really helpful for each other. So please join it. I'll have the links in the description. And of course, check out the other videos I got, and I'll have to catch you guys next time.